Scorpio, this message is personal and urgent. September 24th, 2025 is not merely a date, but a point of no return, a challenge from fate itself. The cosmos delivers a verdict that will resonate as a sentence. It's time for your old self, your old life, to depart. This is not a metaphor. Uranus in Taurus, the great liberator, and your ruler Pluto are forming a powerful alignment that will literally push your soul out of outdated narratives. Accept this not as a loss, but as the sole opportunity for a complete healing rebirth. It is sorrowful, yet essential. Your soul is currently like a bathyscarf, frozen at extreme depths. Beyond the viewport, there is only impenetrable darkness and immense water pressure, distorting space itself. All the instruments you have grown accustomed to relying on, your intuition, your control, your will, are either silent or displaying absurd readings. You are desperately gripping the helm of a reality that sank long ago, whispering to yourself that you are still in command of the situation. But the air inside is growing stale. This desperate hold on old power, familiar roles, and toxic connections is your primary adversary. You are attempting to resuscitate what is already dead, and this illusion of control has become the most sophisticated prison. The cosmic law now taking effect is ruthlessly simple. An obsession with controlling what has already died is the voluntary self-immolation of the soul. The universe will no longer sponsor your drama or feed your illusions. It demands only one thing, a great alchemical act to release the ashes so that a phoenix may rise from them. It is time for your soul to leave this world, a world of old grievances, obsolete roles, and power built on fear. This is not an execution, Scorpio, understand. It is a forced liberation from a cell you built for yourself. The sentence is not for you, but for your prison. The execution is appointed. The trigger for this execution will not be a storm from the heavens, but a quiet informational strike. A piece of news, a document, a fact suddenly brought to light, something that will bring with it fatal clarity. In an instant, you will see the entire architecture of your prison, realize what lies it was built upon, and who your jailers truly were. This moment will become the point of no return. After it, continuing to play your old self will not just be difficult, it will be physically unbearable, like wearing clothes made of broken glass. The universe is not destroying you, it is simply presenting the bill for years of self-deception. And in this moment of silence, when the external fact strikes at your very heart, all internal noise, all the voices of fear, doubt, and old grievances will instantly cease. Through this deafening emptiness, one single crystal-clear thought will emerge: this can no longer continue. This will be neither a complaint nor a question, but a final verdict delivered to yourself. This is the awakening. A quiet yet total rebellion of the spirit against its own lies. Your inner hero, weary of endless compromises, will simply stand up and silently walk towards the exit of this cursed world that you so long considered your only home. And this step towards the exit is paved not with triumph, but with the scars of recent defeats. Recall that leaden weariness from fighting for people who betrayed you, from projects that crumbled to dust at the finish line. All this pain, which you considered your curse, was in fact an alchemical stage. Every blow to your will, every disappointment, it was not chaos, but a methodical collection of fuel for the engine of your spirit. The universe removed external supports so that you could finally discover your inner titanium core. Your agony has become concentrated energy for the decisive escape. And here is the main promise of this transit, Scorpio. The universe opens up a life for you where your strength no longer requires armor and your truth no longer needs manipulation. To leave this world means to change the very operating system of your existence, to reinstall it from a program of survival through control to a reality of prosperity through authenticity. This is a grand cosmic offer to exchange your gilded cage for the right to breathe freely, for genuine intimacy, and for a destiny where you are the author, not a hostage. The price of old power is your own soul, and the cosmos no longer accepts this currency. But the instinct, honed by years of battles, will scream, "Go back!" For in the familiar hell, at least the rules of the game are understood, But there, in the new reality, you will be exposed, vulnerable, without your usual levers of influence. Ancient fear will whisper directly into your subconscious. To surrender control means to become a target. To trust means to expose your back to a blow. This internal sabotage is not a whim, but a reflex of your psyche, attempting to keep you within the boundaries of the known world, even if it has become a toxic crypt. For a Scorpio, the unknown has always been more frightening than the guaranteed pain of a familiar battlefield. But it is precisely for this battle that the universe bestows upon you a new role, that of the alchemical architect of your destiny. Your mission is not to merely survive the collapse, but to orchestrate it. Understand, you are not a victim of circumstances, but a master of demolition. Your true strength now lies not in holding defenses, but in surgically determining which load-bearing walls of your old life must be torn down, and which foundation preserved for the construction of a new temple of the soul. You are the one who consciously presses the button, exploding your own prison from within. This is your new, higher control, and this first act of new control will not be loud. It is a quiet, almost ritualistic pressing of the delete button, erasing correspondence, blocking a number, burning a digital bridge to that very jailer whose toxic power sustained your old world. Not out of hatred, but with the cold calm of a surgeon amputating an infected part of the soul. This is not revenge, Scorpio. This is the sterilization of the past. With this click of a mouse or touch of a screen, you are not just severing a connection. You are signing a death warrant for an entire world, your old world. Act 1 is complete, and this verdict extends to all three arenas of your old world. The first is the theater of shadows, where you were the director in a drama of codependent relationships. The second is the pedestal of power, built on others' weaknesses and your own fear. The third is the treasury of others' secrets, where financial and emotional debts became your primary shackles. You must depart not from one place, but from all three battlefields at once. Demobilization must be complete, because to leave even one front means to betray your own liberation and condemn yourself to repeating the old scenario in even harsher settings. The first front, the theater of shadows, is the most insidious, for in it you are not an actor, but the main director. You orchestrated others' crises, feeding your ego with the role of savior or grey eminence. The cosmic challenge here is to apply your legendary insight not to a partner, but to yourself. Use your gift of seeing the essence of things to uncover your own dependence on this drama. Acknowledge your help has long become a form of control, and love, fuel for power. Your will is needed not to win the final scene, but to calmly lower the curtain and permanently leave this auditorium. The second citadel to be abandoned is your pedestal of power, and this assault is far more dangerous, for it occurs in plain sight. Here, you don't just lose a role, you risk collapsing the entire structure of your status, built on a subtle knowledge of others' weaknesses. The cosmic task is to cease confusing authority with dominance. The practical step, at a crucial moment where instinct tells you to strike from the shadows, using a hidden lever, you must consciously disarm yourself. Renounce manipulation. This is not a tactical capitulation. This is your abdication from a throne held by fear, in the name of genuine spiritual sovereignty. And finally, the third, most fortified bastion, the treasury of others' secrets. Here are stored not money, but your main assets, others' debts, secrets and obligations that granted you unseen power. The greatest challenge here is not merely to forgive debtors, but to burn the debt ledger itself. The cosmic decree demands an act of spiritual bankruptcy from you, publicly and irrevocably zero out all accounts, both those owed to you and those you owe. This is not just the liberation of others, it is the destruction of the very system of coordinates in which your value was measured by others' vulnerability. But the very moment you zero out the last account, the resulting void is immediately filled. The universe sends you a guide, but not in human form. It will be a key, a line from a forgotten book, a suddenly understood symbol from a dream, a phrase dropped by a stranger. It will appear not to save you, but to hand you a new navigation device for a reality where old maps are useless. This spiritual compass is not a reward for courage. It is a necessary tool given only to those who dared to enter the unknown unarmed, leaving behind all their old shields and blades. And this is what your great rulers, Pluto and Mars, whisper in the language of this new compass. Their testament is a dual key for your darkest hour. Mars says, when a wave of panic rises to your throat, do not run or attack. Freeze. Become like a rock in a storm, allow chaos to shatter against your calm. And Pluto adds, do not seek strength in what you can control, seek it in what you can endure by letting go. Your invincibility will manifest not in armor, but in the ability to regenerate from any ashes. This is the formula for survival in the new reality: passive courage and active acceptance. It is at this point of vulnerability that the main siren awaits you, your shadow instinct, demanding revenge. It will whisper that passivity is for the weak, and true liberation requires a final crushing blow to the enemy. This call for vengeance, disguised as higher justice, is the most cunning trap on your path. To succumb to it means to voluntarily inhale the poison of the old world at the very moment you have almost learned to breathe the clean air of freedom. This last battle your ego will offer is not a path to victory, but a guarantee of your eternal imprisonment in the ruins of the past. And as soon as you refuse this last strike, the world will suddenly become surprisingly compliant. Your antagonist of yesterday will abruptly retreat. The source of tension will evaporate, and a wave of premature triumph will wash over you. But this is not a reward, Scorpio. This is the subtlest test of genuine intentions. The universe specifically removes external pressure to check if you will revert to your ego's factory settings as soon as the direct threat disappears. This is an anesthesia, lulling vigilance to see if your liberation is a new state of spirit or merely an escape from pain that will end with the first breath of relief. And this deceptive lull will be abruptly interrupted by the new moon in Libra on October 3rd. The cosmos will introduce a new figure onto the stage or bring back an old player with an offer that seems impossible to refuse. You will be offered the chance to regain lost control, to restore influence, but on new, even more sophisticated terms. This is the true point of no return. Everything prior was merely a dress rehearsal. To accept this offer means not just returning to the old prison, but voluntarily donning new generation digital shackles, invisible and absolutely indestructible. It is your refusal of this golden parachute that will trigger the mechanism of real alienation. The machine you were a part of will now turn against you, methodically cutting off all supply channels. Financial flows will dry up, and yesterday's allies, whose loyalty was based on your power, will turn away with icy indifference. You will find yourself in complete social and resource blockade. This is not punishment, but the final stage of sterilization. The universe forcibly places you in quarantine, burning away the last threads connecting you to the toxic past. The price of genuine sovereignty is a period of absolute deafening solitude. It is in this vacuum of silence that your inner critic, your shadow self, stages its triumphant performance. With icy sarcasm, it proves to you that this is not quarantine, but a scaffold. That you traded real power for ephemeral authenticity, and the great liberation turned out to be merely a synonym for oblivion and poverty. Every day in this blockade will erode the remnants of your faith until only ashes remain. You look at your empty hands, at your silent phone, and for the first time in years, you ask yourself the most terrifying question for a Scorpio: what if I lost? This very question is the bottom of the abyss. Here, in this absolute darkness, it is not hope that dies. It is your Scorpion essence, the will to power. You are no longer a player, not even a loser. You are a ghost in the ruins of your own world, deprived of the right even to touch the debris. And only when the ego turns to dust, something else will emerge from these ashes. Not strength, but presence. Not will, but being. This is you, the real you. And through this dust, like a watermark on dry paper, the memory of the gift emerges. That very spiritual compass, the testament of your rulers. Before, it was merely a beautiful theory. Now, the only working blueprint in a collapsed world. And an epiphany arrives. Your task is not to build a new fortress, but to become an indestructible foundation yourself. Not to win the war, but to outlast it, becoming the very ground upon which any conflict will exhaust itself. This is your new strategy, born from the ashes of ego, not to resist force, but to absorb it with your presence. This new strategy is not a tactic, but the geology of the spirit. Your great hunt now unfolds not in the external world, but in the depths of your being. The goal is not a trophy, but an artifact, the adamantine seed of your true essence. It lies buried beneath the tectonic plates of old roles and fears. Your mission is not to seize it, but to allow it to sprout through the ruins of your former world, becoming the sole source of your new sovereignty. To find this seed means to find a fulcrum capable of overturning the universe of your perception. This is the main prize in this game of elimination. And now begins the quietest work in the universe. You cease seeking and begin nurturing. All remnants of will, all the ashes of past humiliation, you consciously direct inward, like life-giving humus for this adamantine seed. You are no longer a strategist. You are the gardener of your own soul. Every breath you take is watering. Every moment of silence is sunlight for this sprout. You consciously ignore the ruins around you because you have understood the main law of the new reality. First, the inner core grows, and only then, upon it. Like an indestructible axis, a new world begins to crystallize. The external is merely a consequence, and the cosmos will present you with a final bill in the form of one last choice. You will be offered on a platter an ideal, absolutely justified opportunity for revenge. Your old world will offer you its crown back for one single precise blow to a defeated enemy. This is the final exam. The choice is not between action and inaction. It is a choice between two physics of reality, the old, where you are a predator reacting to a threat, and the new, where you are a center of gravity, by your very presence defining peace. To strike this blow means to admit that your old world is still alive, and you are its eternal slave. And your inner beast, sensing blood, raises its head. All the age-old scorpion wiring screams, "Kill or be killed." This is not just temptation, it is an existential terror of your own weakness, the fear of becoming a victim again. And here you apply your new gift. Instead of directing the full power of Pluto at the enemy, you turn it 180 degrees and unleash it upon your own instinct for revenge. You do not suppress it, you totally incinerate it. You lay down the weapon you didn't even pick up, and in this deafening silence, you hear the spine of your old world break, this time for good. In this silence, you feel your true weight for the first time. It is not heaviness, but the gravity of your newfound wholeness, which silently structures reality around you. People and events no longer demand a reaction from you. They begin to align with the force lines of your calm, like iron filings around a magnet. You gain the highest freedom, the freedom not to defend yourself, because your spirit has ceased to be a fortress and has become the territory itself. Attacking a territory is senseless. Your strength ceases to be a weapon and becomes a property of your being, your nature, as inherent as breathing or a heartbeat. And your new reality acquires different laws of physics. Where there was once a theater of war, now stretches a field of pure potential. You no longer scan people for vulnerabilities, but read their true essence, like notes in a musical score. Your discernment, once a weapon, becomes an instrument of creation. You see not weaknesses to exploit, but cracks where you can direct the light of healing, for yourself and for others. Your life ceases to be a series of tactical victories and becomes an act of continuous creation. You no longer conquer worlds, you birth them with your presence. This act of creation becomes your breath. And this new breath has its own formula, its own mantra, which you now utter not with words, but with your very existence. I do not defend. I am. This is not merely an affirmation. It is a new physical law of your personal universe, nullifying the very concept of an enemy. For your old world fell not because you defeated it, but because you ceased to be its fuel. And now, when the battlefield has become a garden, the cosmos asks you only one question. Where will you lead those who come to your light? Your rebirth is complete. Your legacy begins.